Are you and me repeat?
Now this class, the Warlock, has had quite a lot of failures in the last few years. Like, let's just be honest. In Warlords of Draenor, they were really terrible. They just really didn't have any play at all throughout the entire expansion, and their damage was low. And it looks like, based on what I've seen in Legion, they've gotten a little bit better with a little bit different things, but mostly it's still the weakest spec of the three. And I want to dive into a few things that not only are different in the Legion expansion, but also things that I think really could be tweaked, which are just simple solutions that really can make the class a lot better. And I think that Warlock is one of those classes. Ever since Wrath of the Lich King, whenever like Chaos Bolt was introduced, I feel like Warlocks had the capabilities of being one of the coolest classes in the game, because Warlocks, like the Chaos Bolt, like that being this really long cast that was really rewarding and did a lot of damage. It used to go through all the shields of it, like on a character, and it really did a crazy amount of damage. But ever since the evolution of these expansions, it just has been nerfed into the ground up until this point, where, in my opinion, Chaos Bolt is probably the weakest spell in the entire game for PvP. It has the longest cast time out of any spell that I've seen aside from Greater Pyroblast, which really doesn't see any play anyways. And it also doesn't reward with any damage whatsoever, in comparison to like just spamming Shadow Burn, which does more damage, or playing a different class all around, or a different spec all around, which ends up doing way more damage. Like Affliction locks top damage charts easily in most arena cases, right? So, Destro locks in general, like how they work is really you just put up your immolate. You obviously will have Havoc on one target. That's besides the point, so I'm not even gonna keep that. But it's a 20-second cooldown. You just put Havoc on a second target, so all your spells mimic onto that second target, which is really simple. And then you'll put up your mana tap, which is a talent. I think that, yeah, okay, it is a talent. Where I do play with mana tap, which gives you 10% increased damage, and you can pretty much keep that up all the time, which is nice. You have a 25-second buff with 10% damage. And then once you get up this immolate, obviously you're going to pop Soul Harvest, which gives you more damage. Use your artifact ability, your 3 charges of Dimensional Rip, get 5 Soul Shards or however many Soul Shards available, and then just spam Shadowborn until the target dies, which is really pretty simple. So there's a couple things that I want to talk about in terms of at least like the artifact weapon ability, which is kind of cool. And then I want to talk about the mastery. The Dimensional Rift, basically you just rip a hole in time, those little portals you saw there, and then they do like some kind of random damage. So they can fire off a bunch of bolts. They can do like this big burst bolt or whatever, and it actually does a lot of damage. Like, I will say that if you do put it down 3 dimensional rifts, I was able to kill a target pretty fast. However, I think the main problem with this is that it has a 45-second recharge and no chance to actually get that back. So if you look at comparative abilities such as like Phoenix's Flames from Fire Mage, you have something called Phoenix's Reborn, which means that every time you do fire damage, I think it's like your Ignite dot or whatever, gives you a chance to like lower the cooldown on Phoenix's Flames. And then you look at like New Moon, which is another comparative artifact talent from Moonkins, that also has 3 charges similar to Dimensional Rift. They also have a 15-second cooldown, which is much lower than Dimensional Rift, and it does, comparative damage, right? So I think that out of the 3 examples I've just given, I think that Dimensional Rift is probably the weakest of the 3. However, it does do a decent amount of damage, and I can't really knock that for it. And then I want to talk a little bit about the Mastery, because the Mastery is interesting. It's like an RNG game. It's like I don't even know. It's just like it's like you deal damage randomly up to a percentage based on your mastery rating. So right now, my spells can deal a random amount of additional damage up to 41%, and also the damage I take is randomly reduced up to 9%. So it's like this random game, whether you roll high or roll low, you're going to do a certain amount of damage. And I think that Destro locks, honestly, they have a pretty fun playstyle. I don't think that the class design is the problem. I think that Destro locks really just need something called a quality of life just a quality of life tuning phase, right? So what that means is basically like the numbers that go with the spells really just need to be changed. And I think that that could be changed in a couple different ways, and here comes my point as to what's up with that. So I think obviously Chaos Bolt, like if it's going to be a 2.59 second cast, like it needs to do damage. Right now, so if I just hit Chaos Bolt on this guy, it's a 2.59 second cast, it's pretty long, and it hits for 160 whatever thousand. Like that is really, really bad. It's probably the worst damaging like casting spell in the game aside from like Frostbolt, but if you shatter a Frostbolt, it does upwards of 600k. Glacial Spike is actually smaller cast time once it's available, and it also does, I think, anywhere between 10 and 15 times the amount of damage for what you're putting in. And Chaos Bolt also requires a pretty high amount of resources, such as the 2 soul shards, and then the long amount of cast time that is required with that. And I think that if Chaos Bolt was just buffed, I think that Destroy would see a lot more play, a lot more availability. It might not be the best spec, but it would at least, you know, have a lot more to work with. However, I do think that Destroy logs do have a fair amount of disruption. I think that they do offer a way to stun or disorient the target ahead of you, and like, you know, accomplish some kind of disruption, which is good. So I actually have some arenas that I play with a Demon Hunter, and this Demon Hunter obviously does a lot of damage because that's what Demon Hunters do right now. They're just very strong overall. So pretty much I would be playing with a Mortal Coil. You could Havoc, replicate that Mortal Coil, get again a 3-second disorient, and then you could also play with 2 interrupts and spell lock. And since the Infernals are a really big deal for Destro, like if I put down an Inferno on this guy every 10 minutes, like I actually get 4 Infernals on one cast, and it's only a 1-minute cooldown. So I can call down these Infernals and have extra pets that do a pretty decent amount of damage. As you can see, all the Infernals are whacking away at this target. So that's pretty cool. However, the main thing is that it really just... it's not enough, you know, it's not enough to just disrupt the target when you could be killing the target. I could be playing a monk and just destroy a target in less than a couple seconds. But now, you know, if I'm playing this Destro lock, I really only have disruption and damage. And when damage is lackluster, it's hard to justify playing this class. But, you know, I just want to at least get that information out there for all the people that if you're considering playing Destro lock, I just want you to know that before you main the class, it's important to know if you're going to be PvPing that you will be at a disadvantage because of the amount of damage that you don't have. However, I think that Destro lock does have a bright future because I do think that the class is pretty well designed. I just think that it does need that quality of life tuning, and that comes into the Chaos Bolt damage. And also Incinerate doesn't do anything at all. Like, it's actually terrible. Like, look at this, 48k damage. That's pretty bad. But regardless, like I do think that the amount of damage that you can put out is okay, but I just don't know if it's enough. So if I put down these Dimensional Rifts, I can do a decent amount of damage, but I just don't know if it's really enough to warrant... like, see, I'm not even killing this guy, and I'm just spamming Shadowburn, but, you know, it just takes, like, forever to kill somebody. So it is what it is, guys, but I do want to show you some arenas so you can at least give a thought of how Destro looks when it's winning. And just a heads up, Destro does die a lot in arenas because of the lack of Siphon Healed stuff like Affliction Warlock has. The lack of mobility to get away from all these crazy melee that, you know, are taking over the game right now. But I think that Destro, it might not have its like dominant place in the game, but I do think that it has a possible way to come back in this expansion based on the class design. And I think that if it were just to be tuned up a little bit, Chaos Bolt doing upwards of 40% of somebody's health if you do get the cast off, I think that if that happened, then it would be really cool. Because as a Destro lock, you actually have this artifact trait which reduces the cooldown on Unending Resolve by 30 seconds. So that means you have a 1 minute 8-second wall that makes you immune to interrupt effects, and I think that that's really what you need in order to get Chaos Bolts. So let's go ahead and jump into the arenas, guys, and you can check it out.
Heart on fire, set my heart afire. Yeah.
When I close my eyes, I can almost see it. When I take a breath, you fill up my lungs. And if my mind worked backwards just for a minute, I'd follow you before the memory's gone. I remember you. You lift my spirit. With you high is all I'm feeling. Remember how we felt alive. I remember you. I remember you. I remember you. When I close my eyes, I can almost see it. When I take a breath, you fill up my lungs. And if my mind worked backwards just for a minute, I'd follow you before the memory's gone. I remember you. You lift my spirit. With you high is all I'm feeling. Remember how we felt alive. I remember you. I remember you. I remember you. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? This is just for us now. This is just for us now. Yeah, I can never ever find the right words, and there's no way this is real life. There's no telling you're the right girl, so I can only say that it feels right. It feels right. It feels right. Yeah, I can only say that it feels right. It feels right. It feels right. Yeah, I can only say that it feels right. That it feels right. Feels right. So right, so right, so right. I'm just going with the gut. Never had a doubt, felt like this is just a must. Put me in perspective, I'm the deepest in the cut. Everybody tuning in, but this is just for us now. We know I ain't ballin' yet. Hoes wanna holler, oh no, I don't call them back. Girl, let me see you hold it down, we gon' have a blast. Cause I just wanna know what you gonna do with all of that. Ain't gotta say a word. I know what's up. You can have it all. Watch me whip it up. I'll admit it. You got me feeling hella love. Even when it's going down, know that we gon' live it up. Young shot caller, always been a baller. Know that you the one. I can feel it in my heart. Yeah, I won't stop charging me. Going come harder. I can see you and I way beyond the stars, girl. I can never ever find the right words, and there's no way this is real life. There's no telling you're the right girl, so I can only say that it feels right. It feels right. It feels right. It feels right. I'm just going with the gut. Never had a doubt. Felt like this is just a must. Put me in perspective.
And that does sum it up for today, guys. I hope you did enjoy those arenas. And if you did, be sure to give a big thumbs up on this class. You can also leave a comment down below. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to my channel for future videos and check out the first link in my description so that you can see my top 5 favorite Legion Beta classes on my website. So thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next one. Cartoons out.